Hello, welcome to Amateur Hour 29. Iowa is in the playoff rankings. College
Hell yeah.
basketball teams and Cyclones will be soaking in Provo this weekend. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Great.
Good.
Meh.
Good.
How
I'm
about you,
glad nothing
Brian?
bad is happening.
Brian, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. As you can see, I have a new ring light, so you can actually see me. I'm not skulking in the shadows like I usually am. But,
Brian
other than
is
that,
ready
I'm,
for the Pulse of the Heartland TikTok and Pulse of the
Uh,
Heartland OnlyFans.
Hell
yeah,
yes. Let's see those toesies.
only
Grippies.
feet. Yeah.
Grippies.
Okay, you want my grippers? Is that what you're saying? You want to see my
Yes.
grippies?
Mhm.
Well, you're gonna have to pay a monthly subscription, $4.95. Not a bad deal. I make $3.75 off of each subscription, so let's keep them coming. Don't ask
Wow.
me how I know those numbers, by the way. So
No
It's
idea.
awfully specific.
yeah, it's crazy that I would know that creators get 75% of the subscription. Crazy.
Well, I can't pay you and Caesar's Sportsbook. I mean, I just keep losing fucking bets this week. So there's a good reason I don't live in a state where gambling's legal.
Yeah, again, just remember how mad Wemby just made you here, missing it by one rebound. You just take that money and you get a month's worth of feet picks.
Well, yeah, that's what I should do. Your feet picks. That's all I want.
Yeah, or you can DM me on there. I think is what they call it. I don't know.
Brian's little piggies.
Yeah, Brian's little grippy at Brian's little grippies. There you go.
That would be
that'll
a
be it.
great Twitter handle, by the way. Brian's Little Piggies.
Just a picture of the foot.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Imagine what Michael Scott could have got for when he burned his foot on his George Foreman, his little grilled piggies. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I just love like in that episode how a little later in the episode it shows them cooking on it again, or no,
Yep.
isn't that later in the season where they start making the man meat on it?
It's Bob Vance's bachelor
Yeah.
party they have in the warehouse where no one likes the stripper.
Yes. And so just using it later. Is this the foot grill? And he just doesn't address it.
Speaking of stripper, I follow T Storm Chases on Facebook, and they
Hello,
do like all the
Jake.
crime around Sioux Falls. And there was a customer dispute at Scarlett O'Hara's just like an hour ago.
Oh shit!
Like, who's going there at 8:00 on a Wednesday?
I mean,
Desperate people, Trent.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Hey.
I've never. I'll just put it this way: I've been to a strip club at lunch on a Tuesday, and it's not great. So,
What was it? At least in like Vegas, or
it was a fully nude bar in Vegas, and it was disgusting.
see, this is Sioux Falls.
Saw more pimples than a junior high.
Did you go? Did you go, ma'am? There's a hair in my soup, and she says long or short, and then that determines how they go forward from there. If it's long hair, we'll take it back. Short hair,
Hello,
you pay
Randy.
extra for that.
PB.
I got one beer and sat in Sniffer's Row, and then saw what I saw and left, and couldn't stand it anymore. Didn't finish the beer.
Yeah, you guys, God, salmon went bad in the lunch buffet here, and you knew what happened.
Oh Jesus!
Well, let's get to college football because we can talk about that all night. Obviously,
That's enough stripper talk for the week.
yeah.
The last time I was on, Brian and I got into porn star discussion, so this is just
Well,
holding court.
Well, that's a little trade secret. We put that like minute 106, where people, if they're listening at that point, they're in it for the long haul anyway.
Hey,
Especially if it's just the gruesome twosome.
I was gone that week, and yes, I did listen to it.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
Jake
and you
wants
learned a lot,
more.
didn't you?
Jake wants more strippers.
I'm sure you do, Drang. I'm sure you do.
Well, this might not be the pod for you then, but
Remember, join the Pulse of the Heartland OnlyFans.
yeah, subscribe below. We'll keep up the porn star talking here.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to college football here with the trivia question. This past weekend, Oklahoma State finally beat Oklahoma and Bedlam, like one of the 9 times they've ever done it. Can you tell me how many times in Oklahoma's history where they have lost to both Oklahoma State and Kansas in the same season?
Can't be more than 2. Yeah, that was my guess.
Well, you'd be wrong. Because, Dave?
4.
4? You're all wrong. It's 3.
Oh.
I thought you were going to go less and say 1. Damn.
Yeah, no, I would say it was 95, 97, and then just this year, 23.
Wow. So all within the last 30 years.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
Yeah,
shocked.
all of them been, oddly enough, in the last 30 years. And I mean, honestly, as much as I think the Kansas one, no one's really shocked at. I'm really shocked with like Bedlam. I know it's a rivalry and everything, but like that's always been the one that Oklahoma just shits the bed, or Oklahoma State shits the bed, and now they get to hold that over Oklahoma for infinity. Oklahoma won 90% of the time, but they won the last one.
Yep, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Sorry.
Yeah,
Oklahoma.
I know everyone was real upset about, poor little Oklahoma, how they're going to do, going to the SEC. But I really wish Iowa State could have been the one to do it, but it's nice seeing all these other schools getting their lickings in. Now someone's got to do it.
Not more than about 5 or 6 weeks ago that Oklahoma is going to be the next Arkansas once they hit the SEC. Did I say that? I believe I said that multiple times.
They'll have to go back and listen to confirm.
There's receipts.
Yeah, we don't just say shit. We actually keep the receipts on this pod.
That's right.
But I think probably the biggest thing, obviously, we're going to be going in for until ever at this point, until they finally come out with the final rankings. But the playoff rankings that had just come out here. And, we'll talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a little bit. Look at the bottom center there, number 22. Joey, who can you see who that is? Dave?
Yeah, baby.
Woo!
I mean,
little herky Hawkeyes.
Yeah, can't be pissed about 7-2 unless you have the worst offense in fucking football history.
Again, I wish my team sucked so bad that they were 7-2 and 22nd nation right now. I'd be beating my chest so hard if that were Iowa State.
Hey, it's Hawkeye Trent coming back again.
It is.
Well, what happened the last time it was Hawkeye Trent. I think you guys are going to want to kick him off again.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, he lost. Yeah.
But, honestly, I mean, I don't think there's much to say on it. I like seeing Arizona up there. Iowa. I just think, like, you see there's about three lost teams ahead of you. That's where Iowa needs to be, though. You can't put them behind a group of 5 team. They would slaughter. If this is the true playoff rankings, you can't have Tulane in front of Iowa. I think North Carolina, Iowa would be an interesting matchup. But, I mean, at this point, I think everyone below Iowa right now they're going to struggle against that defense.
So I'm going to play into your hand here for a second because I know how much you love the Big Ten, especially the Big Ten West and how they play football. The Big Ten West might be the worst division in football. Just hands down, just through and through, just a lot of bad teams. When you say you can't put a group of 5 team like Tulane in front of Iowa, I don't know if that's the case. I honestly, anywhere from, I'm going to go ahead and say 11 through 25, Iowa can hang with and be in the game with on offense or on defense. And the second half, that any of those teams could just blow them out like Penn State did. So I'm not a person to say that no one can beat Iowa because I do think Tulane could beat Iowa. Honestly, I think it'd be a 50-50 game.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to agree with that too. Like from 11 through 25, like it'd be.
If you could choose any one of those teams in the top 25, if it was like you have to win this game or you're kicked out of the Big Ten or something, who are you choosing out of all those teams? Not 10 plus. We know you're losing. Sorry.
That's a great
call. Man, that's a good.
So you said no? Yeah, probably no one in the top 10 for sure.
I mean, come on, Joey. This isn't a comedy podcast. This is a sports podcast. I want I want real, real answers. Damn it.
I'm gonna go Utah, just
Okay.
because of their style of play. They're basically Iowa West, but with a decent offense. But Iowa can get after the quarterback, and I think that they could get after. Is it Nate Johnson that's starting now? I can't remember who's.
Bryson Barnes, the pig
Yes,
farmer.
thank you. Yep, the pig
Little
farmer. Yeah.
old pig
Exactly.
farmer.
That's why he would lose to Iowa, because he can't beat the state that actually rules the world in hog production. So, yeah,
exactly.
I would have to agree. Utah for sure, I think, would be the closest, and I think a close second, just in my opinion, would be Kansas.
So my close second was Tennessee because of their quarterback accuracy. I think that's a prime picking for some Hawkeye pick sixes there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good choice too.
So
go ahead. Sorry, Trent.
I was going to say, speaking of the group of 5 schools, right now on ESPN2 is Maction. Toledo's 8-1. Their only loss is to Illinois.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I didn't know they were 8-1, and so I had to look up, well, who's that lost to? Power 5 school, and I mean, they're not even mentioned in this.
Right. And James Madison is undefeated. First year in FBS.
It was a 2-point loss on the road week 1.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they've won 8 straight.
Yep, and not on here.
I don't know.
So I just
not even a little
second.
Not even a little bit.
Just lost my second bet because Miami had 19 instead of 21 points. So fucking great.
There you go.
And in the AP top 25, Toledo is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th receiving vote. So they're basically 30th.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Wow.
All right. They keep. Well, they're winning by 40 points right now. I bet you they get started looked at, especially if Tulane drops off or North Carolina. So, I mean, I think LSU and Arizona would probably be like if Iowa had to win the game, because Kansas, I think, might be the answer. Especially with Jason Bean wasn't accurate. I think that defense would do better than what Iowa State just did, and we only lost by a touchdown. It's pretty close. It's just going to be what can your offense do against that D, which you can't. You're not going to be able to pass, which is your strength, because you don't pass. I mean, if you can just run it down their throat, I think you win that one.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you guys think of the top 4? Does it really matter right now with Ohio State and Michigan still coming up, as long as Washington's in the top 5?
Yeah, I don't think it really matters right now, because them two are probably gonna, they're gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's gonna give one of them a loss, and barring Washington losing, that'll sort itself out.
Yep. Yeah, I really like Washington, Oregon at 5 and 6, and I think keeping them ahead of Texas and Alabama is probably smart for right now, just because they're probably going to play again, and the loser's going to drop out, unless Oregon pulls at the upset, which I think that's what most national pundits are thinking anyway. But I like that, and I really like that logjam of Washington, Oregon, Texas, Alabama. Like, they're putting the teams that are better than the other ones in front of them, but they're also putting the teams that also won in front of the teams that they beat. So I like that too.
Yeah.
This is one of the first times in recent history that I guess it's all recent history with the playoffs, but one of the first times that I think the committee's actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, and not like making Ohio State number 1 is kind of a boring pick, but they're also going off of resume and what's happened so far. And I really like that. And they're not just putting it out there, oh, Georgia needs to be number 1 because they're SEC and they're defending national champs. Mm-hmm. I like it a lot. I'm
still like 4 or 5 weeks in that I think Washington needs to be number 4. I know they don't have the resume as Florida State, but I do think that they are a better overall team. And I think beating USC this last week, coming back and winning, I think they deserve to be number 4.
And I would agree with you putting Washington over them if you wanted to. I mean, Florida State's resume, the wins that we thought that they had that were really good, Miami, or I guess they play Miami this weekend, but Clemson, LSU, they're looking worse and worse as the season goes on. So yeah, it's all in how you measure the wins and losses, I guess.
I think the biggest thing that I would do is Ohio State, Georgia. That's right. Until something changes, and you could flip those two, and I wouldn't care. I think you got honestly, and this is just me also being a hater. You got to take Michigan out of the top four. Only be a couple things. One, the cheating scandal. Two, who have they played where it's like, holy hell, we look at this big win they have. Florida State, they've beat Clemson, they've beat Boston College. These teams that have 8 wins on the season. Ohio State has played played a tough Rutgers team as they're trying to hype up that last week's matchup. They beat Penn State. Georgia just beat Mizzou. Washington just beat USC. Honestly, throttled them by 10 points, and it wasn't even remotely close. Who's Michigan played? Michigan State, who's on their first-year coach. I mean, Michigan has played nobody, and who knows what they know. I think that should be the one concession since the Big Ten's not going to do anything in this cheating scandal. They just need to put Michigan at 5 because, again, they beat Ohio State and Penn State this weekend. It'll sort itself out anyways.
Yep, and I agree with you. On that. The only argument I would have is their margin of victory over the opponents they played. That's the only argument I would have. But I agree with you. Put them at 5 because it's not going to matter because they have to play Ohio State and Penn State anyway.
Michigan's best win is UNLV, and they're 7-2.
Right.
If we're going to start propping up high-profile Mountain West opponents, that's, I think, where the argument gets lost on why the hell they're even 3.
Yeah, it's one of those things, too, though. I mean, you have to play your schedule, and they had an easy first half of the schedule. They have a very tough second half of the schedule. So, I mean, I think that, like you said, put them at 5. It's going to shake itself out anyway. So it is what it is.
But again, I agree with you, Joy. This has probably been the first year where it's like, I think the committee's doing it. This has been the most right it's been. But I also think this has been the first year where the SEC has been down enough where they're not going to be knob-gobbling them the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're going to throw in some Big Ten. Hey, a couple ACC teams are good. Louisville is in this. This is just a projection by the Cover 3 pod, one of the Bud Elliott, one of the guys. But this is where I'm excited. Hey, look at the conference champions. Now there's a difference it's going to make. And guess what? Ohio State, you lose the one game of the season, it's not going to matter. You have a play-in game versus a Louisville, and you can play the number 1 seed.
Right.
Liberty, you're always bitching that you don't get the chance like Cincinnati did a few years ago. Now here's your chance. You get to play Oregon.
And it's a home game.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't tell you how excited I am for next year.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how the 12 team. There's 3 Big Ten teams, and none of them are the Big Ten West champs. So. How does that shake out?
Yeah, let me. I don't think I have that graphic.
Well, next year there's no divisions.
I mean, look at my name. It says headed to Indy, just not the Hawkeyes, but me. Just me.
It would be better if it was head in Indy. So
I'll let you know tomorrow. I'm driving through. Maybe it'll happen. I'll stop at a strip club noon on a Thursday.
There you go.
It better be like a Colts themed strip club then.
They're just all wearing Andrew Luck jerseys.
Pat McAfee.
I was trying to think of a clever like Peyton Man things, but I think that would be a men's strip club. That would be a good
Man thongs.
yeah, Peyton Man thongs in Indy.
Andrew fucks. So I'm going to a gay strip club. I guess that's what we've come up with. So
God, Andrew Fuck sounds pretty good actually. That's a pretty good name.
That's a good porn name.
So Kansas, this is an old trivia question from last week, and I forgot to ask you. But Kansas was ranked for the first time in last Tuesday. Can you name the 5 schools that have never been ranked in the college football playoffs? Sorry, Power 5. Let's clarify that.
Vandy.
1.
Arizona State.
Nope.
I would say
Rutgers.
This is before last week, though.
Yeah, before last week.
So was Arizona one of them? Now they're ranked, though. That'll ruin that.
No, and I guess Arizona's in now. They're not on this list anyway. When he just said Rutgers, that's right.
Maryland.
3.
Nebraska.
No, they've been ranked. It's a Big 12 team, and God, I cannot read the last one. Oh, and a Pac-12 team. Big 12 and Pac-12.
Cal.
4. The Big 12 one will be the shocker.
current Big 12 team, Texas Tech.
Holy shit, you guys got that pretty damn good.
Wow.
Yeah, Texas Tech was the one that shocked me on this. But Maryland Rutgers, that's no shocker, Cal. Why do you think they're in the ACC now?
Yeah. Cal's a good guess there, Dave.
Well, and they're actually
thank you.
decent this year.
Yeah.
Golden Bears.
Hell yeah.
The Golden Bears about to be in the ACC. They've been playing pretty damn well these last
quarterbacks in our lifetime.
What's that?
2 first-round quarterbacks and Marshawn Lynch came out of Cal in our lifetime.
Aaron Rodgers. Who's the other one?
Goff.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I forgot he went there.
Oh, shit. They had that really super fast wide receiver.
Don't forget Javid Best.
Yeah, Javid Best. Fuck, forgot about that.
Javid. Yeah, you're right. Not Javid.
God, it doesn't matter. It'll come to me.
Yeah, we'll come
That's
to it.
my name.
We'll come to it when we get to it. But let's talk about some real football. Let's talk about some real football here. Iowa 10, Nebraska Northwestern 7. Northwestern covers +5, and the under of 30.5 hits. Whoever wants to start, one of you two. How do you feel?
Go for
It
it.
was a win.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun
Iowa
Jackson.
win, and that Iowa defense looked actually very, very good. I listened to it on the radio. I felt like I was at the game because of Dolph and Podolak.
Hell yeah.
I think that defense really showed their true potential, like what they are meant for. So I was really happy for the win. Flag is still staying downward, but I'm not going to be a full fan flagging it yet. So
Nice.
Still half-mast.
You've got good, bad, and ugly on the agenda, I think.
Yeah, I put most shocking, just whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can fill that
The
with
good,
one.
Yeah, the good, Iowa won. The bad, just the game in general. And then the most shocking, Torrey Taylor had a very off game. He only averaged 39.5 yards per punt, which is crazy.
Sorry. Almost threw
You
up.
all right?
Only 39 yards? What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, he had like 9 punts, so that makes sense. But normally it was 10.5 under his normal average. He's right at 50 for the rest of the season. So
now, I don't have the cock, so I wasn't able to watch it. Was that actually because Iowa did cook up a little offense and they were just that much closer, or just an actual struggling day?
No, he just struggled. And even when they were closer and he had a chance to put it inside the 20, it went into the end zone. So
it looked really windy too.
Yeah. And it was in Wrigley. He had the big brick wall behind everybody and everything. Who knows? Like they say in the NCAA tournament when they play in arenas and stuff, shooters can't shoot well. Maybe that was it. Maybe the walls were too close in Wrigley or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but he had an off day.
When they kicked that field goal to win, I was like, "There's no way he's making this."
Mm-hmm.
And he drilled it right down the center, and it looked like the wind was gusting at that point. It was like a 50-yarder.
Yep.
52.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, Dolph got pretty excited on the radio. He was, and then Podolak.
The Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yep. Dolph probably had 2 or 3 whiskeys in him. I'm just not gonna lie. It was a cold day.
I'm guessing Podolak probably had about 5 or 6.
There we are. I didn't want to say it, but Dave did.
Well, we shared this one almost immediately after the game, but we were actually talking about this on the pod last week. Here are the highest scoring games in Wrigley this last year. The Cubs, Reds, Cubs, Mariners, Cubs. 6 games with the Cubs. And then at number 7, Iowa Northwestern with 17 total points.
The Cubs tied or beat that twice on their own.
Just one team scoring runs.
When is Vegas going to realize that all Iowa over-unders need to be 20 points?
Dude,
all of them.
This week it's 28, and I'm like, that's still too high. Bet the under.
There is no way Iowa Rutgers is 28 points. Rutgers is 6-2. They only have 2 losses, 7-2, or something. Anyway, they're good this year for Rutgers. Like they're really good this year, and Iowa's not going to let them score, and they aren't going to let Iowa score. Like this is a way better defense than Northwestern. I would not be surprised if it's another 6-3 game.
Yeah,
we just heard what the committee said. Yeah, you heard what the committee said. This is a good Rutgers team. prop up Ohio State. So if you beat them,
Mhm.
Iowa deserves to be top 15 in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's a good win.
Iowa.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, top 15. That's so gross. Rutgers does average 330.9 points a game or yards a game.
Whoa,
That
points?
is, yeah, that is 105 yards a game more than Iowa. Iowa averages 235 points.
Aren't they
225 points.
yards?
Do you know who
Yes,
averages less than that this year, Joey?
I do.
No one.
Yeah, there you go.
By 25 yards.
I mean, I'm watching an Eastern team being beat by 40, and they're the closest team has 30 more yards a game. Now, yards don't mean nothing with points, but it is still pretty funny.
But you usually have to get yards in order to score points.
Well, that's true. Technically,
but
you do have to gain yards to.
You know what the difference is between Eastern Michigan and Iowa? 3 wins. So
3. There we go. Yeah, Eastern's only 4 and 5 right now. They ain't bowl eligible, man.
Right, man.
And they ain't gonna get it tonight. That's for damn sure.
Yep, they just lost by 21 points, and they had a total team stat of total yards 317. They almost, man.
Whew.
Yeah, that's a hell of a game.
Do you think it's because the Iowa groundskeepers don't want to have to redo the field at all, so they tell them don't run on the field as hard, so that's why the offense doesn't do much?
Yeah,
so you mean like Wrigley's Field?
Exactly. Yeah. I was wondering, Trent, you watched, right?
Yeah.
And Dave, did they mention anything about this on the radio? About
What's that?
How bad the field was and basically the trench on the goal line?
Yeah, they were talking about that a lot, and that's what I put down for the bad on this is playing a football game at a baseball field because it's a way different style turf and everything.
I told Dylan, I was like, I'm pretty shocked at how bad that is. I know it's a normal pothole in Chicago, but I didn't know they had them in Wrigley. So,
man, yeah, they were having to come out, remove turf, fill in dirt, put the grass back, pound it down. It was a thing.
That's why the offense sputtered, I hear.
Yeah.
That was the reason, huh?
Yeah, that's got to be it. See, now I think Joey's leaving because he knows about my fantastic stat that I have about Iowa that I didn't even tell you guys. I was so excited to break this one out here.
Can I tell you one that I saw? You guys probably saw it too.
Can I make a Deacon Hill joke and call it Deacon Hole? Can we name that the trench that was in Wrigley? Deacon Hole.
It's a deep hole.
Deacon's Hole. What a great strip club name.
I've got a stat too. You probably saw it. But in the last 6 games, USC has given up more points than Iowa has in the last 2 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So yeah. So I didn't have that graphic. I forgot to put it on. USC allowed in the last 6 games 265 points. Iowa points in the last 2 seasons 284. Now, what me and a couple buddies did last night, Corey, who's been in the chat here, we did the offense as well. We did the points. Corey added them up. Iowa the last 2 seasons 286 points. USC's offense the last 6 games 235 points.
You can't keep getting away with it.
Keep getting away with it
every week.
Oh, if you had Lincoln Riley and Phil Parker, I mean national championships until one of them dies or decides to go to the Los Angeles Chargers. You know.
Yeah, I mean they're both in the Big Ten next year. It's the same job.
It's a Big Ten job now, technically.
Yeah, same exact job. There's no difference between Southern California and Iowa City.
Yeah, once Kirk retires, I think it's a no-brainer for Lincoln Riley to leave LA and just move to Iowa City.
Hey, congrats, Lincoln. You could get it done in Oklahoma.
He's going to live in the Amana colonies.
Yeah, Amana colonies. You got it done at the Blue Bloods. See if you could do it in Iowa City. Bring the talent to Iowa City and get an offense going. That will prove if you're a true coach. Like when Les Miles went to Kansas.
LA, why wouldn't you come to just the biggest attractions, the Coralville Mall?
Yeah.
It's got an ice hockey rink in it.
Hey, the Extreme Center in North Liberty. What are you talking about?
Oh, my bad.
We're going to show you how it gets done at the Vine over here. So,
Ooh, I've been to the
I mean,
Vine.
if he wants to know how world-class athletes actually perform, he could just go to an Iowa wrestling.
yeah, and say go see Tom Brands and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
That bougie bitch. There's nothing in the state of Iowa that's bougie enough for him.
Probably why I
Fine.
left Oklahoma.
I've been waiting so patiently to show you this one. This is about Iowa's anemic offense. There is new stats weekly. I can't keep up with like all of the different pictures I take of it. This one has got to take the cake as one of my favorite stats ever here. In Big Ten play, assuming that the quarterback is running from the middle of the field, the Iowa quarterbacks jogging off before a punt have ran for 1,172 yards, and the Iowa offense has gone 1,122 yards.
Wow.
Oh.
God dang. Holy shit.
Oh.
These
How
are
is
the
that even
stats
fucking possible?
we need right here.
7-2. 7.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, you can. This is where the good thing is. You can take these stats. If you were 2-7, this is beating a dead horse. This horse is alive and well, and somehow it's won 3 races because they had to put down 3 horses right before it. You know, like I was winning. I just can't. Just how? This is they can't keep getting away with the type stat.
Remember at one point, and this is hard for me to remember which year it was exactly because every single Iowa game is the same rinse, repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa was ranked number 2 in the nation.
So
yeah.
we are 2 years removed from that. That was right after we started this podcast.
Right.
I remember that.
And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, we're going to make the playoffs, and we have a defense that can stick with anybody.
Yep.
This, like Dave said at the beginning of this whole segment, this might be the best defense Iowa's ever had, and by far the fucking worst. It is so bad.
3 teams have only allowed 10 offensive touchdowns or less in the country: Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa. And the only school that has had to play more than 600 defensive snaps is Iowa, and they're like 663.
Only one rushing touchdown, I believe.
Yeah. Who was that versus?
Uh,
It had to be Penn State.
Penn State or
really? And the rest were passing with Drew Aller?
Yeah, I mean, it have to be.
And I mean, I guess Drew has had a little bit of a cold streak, but that's shocking that they would have only had. Didn't they have a defensive touchdown too? I guess.
Penn State
Penn State, yeah.
in that game.
I got so messed up that second half, and I don't remember.
So, well, here's also some good news for you, man. You know, the East, it's still for grabs. They can have the 3-way tie. They got everything. If you look at this graph here, if Iowa wins this next weekend, they're at 88% chance of going to the conference championship. They lose, they're still at 50. You control your destiny so well right now. I mean, Iowa State would be frothing at the mouth if we could have these odds right now to make the Big 12.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong, I am super excited about this team and about I shouldn't say this team, about this season and how well our defense is playing. And I mean, our record is awesome. I fucking love being able to say that I'm, a Hawkeye fan of their 7-2. It's just that offense is so bad. But yeah, and it would not surprise me if Iowa lost all 3 of these last games, or if they won all of them. So, yeah, who the fuck knows, man?
Let me see. Who are the last 3 again? Because it's Rutgers, Illinois, both at home, and then on the road at Nebraska for another sellout. I can't believe they keep doing it
on Black Friday. Yep,
on Black Friday. So, I mean, the good news is at least with Nebraska, your toughest game, Kirk is going to have a fire lit under their ass. Hey, remember how shitty it was when they beat us last year? Show them what we're made of this year.
I don't think Kirk is lighting a fire under anyone's ass. If your dad can't get you motivated to be a better coach and be better at your job, who the fuck can? To be honest with you, like, I don't know. Phil Parker will have a light under everyone's ass, but that's about it.
if a father's love can't get you to rush for over 4 yards a play, what can? A good offensive line, good scheme. It's a father's love every time.
We don't have either one of them.
Oh no, the father's love or the scheme.
Oh, none of
the
it.
line.
None of it.
Or the line.
Not to bring it down any, but did you see that offensive lineman decommitted?
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
5-star.
Nick Brooks, 4-star recruit out of Cedar
Yeah.
Rapids, Kennedy.
I think it's smart by him just to until you get the who's replacing Brian, he can still obviously go straight back to Iowa, but that's always rough. The commitment and then decommitment.
So
to it.
I am going to make a public apology here to Caden Proctor. Yeah, I'm sorry about everything I said about you on the podcast or after the podcast or anything. Good on you for not being a part of this shit show. Good for you.
Would they be 9-0 with Caden?
No, I don't think he makes that big of a difference.
He's going to make up 31. He's going to make up 31 points versus Penn State.
Hell of a left tackle, my friend. I've watched him. He does all right for Alabama, but man, he struggles. But it's like, well, it's an SEC defensive end. You
He's
know,
a true freshman.
And he's a true freshman. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
True freshman. So, but well, anything else you want to get off your chest before we start weeping over here about our Cyclones?
Not for me. I'm sure we'll talk more later when we go over this weekend.
I have one thing to lead into your guys' segment.
All right.
About this. Last week I had Trent and Bryant. Kansas is gonna lose.
We didn't say who to. Maybe it's this week.
Well, all I know is that I heard Kansas is gonna lose.
Yeah. Well, we did everything we could to definitely give them that game. There was a couple other issues, but
Yeah.
We'll get into it. Kansas 28, Iowa State 21. Kansas covers the plus 2.5 and the under of 54 hits. Trent, what do you think?
Iowa State again gets off to a slow start. It's all the games that we won there, those 4 Big 12 games, you start fast. And I felt like Iowa State at the beginning of the game was kind of started out like they did conservative, like the Iowa game, the Ohio game. They tried to run the ball, and you got to spread that field out because you can't run the ball. Spread the field out to run the ball. And I felt like they were just trying to feel out Kansas a little too long, and then you run out of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, gave up a pick 6. That don't help. There's your 7 points right there. 7 points are taken off the board because of a bad blown stepping out of bounds call. Just weird things, man.
That was, and I'm just going to get it out of the way because this is not the reason we lost, but
No.
those officials were legit bad. They were inconsistent with calls on both sides. They called a sideline warning in the first quarter versus Iowa State. There was if you compare, because people are comparing it to, the punt return a couple weeks ago against Iowa was, that was called incorrectly or whatever you want to think of it. That one, the reason why I'm kind of okay with that one is they let the play out and then they go, let's review it. Compared to the return that was on the sideline, and you could see any review, he wasn't even close to. Well, he was close, but it wasn't.
He was in bounds by a foot.
Yeah, it wasn't like foot line. He had space, and they just blew it dead, and you can't review anything after that.
Yeah, and you can't advance it after the play's been blown dead. You can't give yards.
There were some rough calls there, but guess what doesn't help either is when you should be calling aggressive play calls. Okay, you've done your first couple 3 and outs, and you're down 7-0 to the higher powered Kansas offense, and you're still trying to run for -1 to 2 yards per rush. I mean, we couldn't get any push up front, and they were so damn conservative that until the second half, we just couldn't get anything going, man.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the blown call, whatever, Noel gets called out at the 31. We should have had so much momentum. We should have been able to drive that and get the touchdown. And to only get a few yards and you have to kick a field goal at that point I mean, what the hell, man?
Yeah, and I mean, in looking at it the other way too, it could have been worse. Kansas missed a couple field goals as well, but again, we were still there. We're still, it's a one possession game. It's just like let's go win one of these one possession games.
Yeah. This is definitely you can definitely feel the youth on this team. Whereas we've closed the margin, we have won in some of the margins.
Yep.
But we're still that young team where
Yep.
I mean, Iowa 7-point loss, Kansas 7-point loss, both on those pick sixes. Oklahoma, we are never in it. That one,
No.
whatever. The Ohio game, a 3-point loss. We're in these games. We've flipped some of these 50-50s. The one thing that changed the whole second half, and that's where I was feeling confident in us is our defense always plays so well in the second half. Heacock kind of lets them do their thing, gets their scheme down, and then he just shuts them down in the second half. But when you're down 18 points, our offense isn't fast enough where we can get. We were lucky we got right back into it before they did the tight end pop for 80 yards over us.
Yep. Yeah, I got it to within 3, and then they took 180 yards.
So I don't know. That was honestly Campbell getting out coached as well. You have a night game. It's home, full attendance. You have Brock Purdy. You're wearing your black uniform. Everything could have gone right except for literally all of the play calls that you did in the first half.
Yeah.
Everything else was about perfect. Even the defense did as well as they could. They only gave up 14 in the first half. I would take that in any game.
Yeah. And Lance Leipold's a great coach. I mean, look what he's done with KU. We are 2 years removed from Iowa State beating KU by 52.
Yeah.
And now they're ranked.
Well, that was Leipold. He remembers. He holds a vendetta against us here.
Their only win that year, their only Big 12 win that year was when they beat Texas in Austin in that overtime game.
That was the that Casey, that number 47. He's still on the team.
The tight end, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he caught something versus. I can't remember what it was. If it was the game sealing catch or whatever, but you know,
he does.
What's that?
I said that's what he does.
That's what he did. He catches in clutch moments. So
yeah.
I don't know. It was frustrating. We definitely had our opportunities to win it. Just like I said, that was 100% coaches not getting that team ready, because there's no way those players aren't hyped at that point, but not putting them in the right position and trying to force feed, running the ball when it's just not happening. You got to give up on it. Even in the second half, when we were letting Rocco cook and creating some space, we didn't have any real big runs. I don't know what's going on with Abu Sama, but he didn't clock a touch.
I was just gonna say the same thing. Is Abu Sama just farting around in practice, hitting guys in the nuts, and what's he doing, man? Why is he not playing?
It's got to be something like that. But he didn't register one. Jeremiah Cooper was out. 2 guys don't make that big of a difference. But
man, Abu Sama is a good player, and I'm just he was so good at the beginning of the year, and he was getting all these touches, and his usage has dropped off so much. I'm like, man, I hope he doesn't transfer or something.
And I don't know if maybe it's like red shirt or something. Maybe it's an injury that they don't want to disclose. But
yeah,
I mean, he's kind of been the home run hitter when we've needed one. All of them kind of are, but he's been the bigger one. He kind of was the one that got the run game going in the Oklahoma game.
I feel like he's probably played too much to have this a redshirt year, though. That red shirt's got to be burned. I think he can only play in 25% of your games.
Yeah.
So,
well, to make us all feel better here, right now, here's the two. This is from Brett McMurphy on Action Network, but Iowa State predicted the Independence Bowl versus Washington.
Ooh.
You guys get the coveted Cheez-It Bowl. I'm pretty fucking jealous. Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, Missouri at Iowa State, versus Iowa. I think they're.
Are you guys feeling the cheesiest?
Yeah.
There is a greater than 0 chance that I could be in Orlando, Florida for New Year's Eve. So
there you go.
I don't dislike that one bit. And playing Mizzou. Awesome. I love how you guys would be a 2.5 point favorite against Wazoo. and Cam Ward. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
We need revenge for the Alamo Bowl.
Gardner Minshew Bowl.
Yep, Gardner Minshew and Mike Leach, the old pirate.
R.I.P. Pouring out for the homies.
Or went out on your hotel floor, Joey.
Poured it out right into my mouth.
Yeah, the maids will just clean it up later. So, I didn't catch a few of these because I actually went to the Iowa State game. But what was probably the best game that you guys saw over the weekend?
Washington USC.
Really?
Yeah.
Was Washington looking just that dominant, or do you just hate USC? Or
I actually, with USC being up, like what I saw, USC was winning at one point.
Yep.
When I was at Rides and watching the game, I was like, "Oh man, this is not looking good."
Right.
And then I got home and turned it on real quick, and I thought, "Oh, Washington's coming back." And then after watching the replay of it on the Xbox, I thought, "Holy shit, they came out and won this!" Like I thought that's why I think they deserve to be that number 4 at least.
Yeah,
is they came back and won when at one point it looked like USC was going to come away with it. The other game that I thought was actually going to be really close was just from watching the stuff and listening to it and seeing on my phone was the Georgia-Mizzou game. Actually, I thought that was a lot closer than it could, like a lot closer than it turned out.
Yeah, that was going to be my pick, the Georgia-Mizzou game. Obviously, living in Missouri, I have a bunch of people that I work with and stuff that are all Mizzou fans, and just following them on social media and stuff. Everyone was super excited about that game, and it ended up being a bigger margin than it should have been, or a bigger margin than what we thought it was going to be. I that would be my choice.
So I watched a lot of the Texas K-State game. That was a crazy ending. When Kansas State had a field goal to, I think, take the lead with like 90 seconds left, or to tie it with 90 seconds left. And I'm like, they missed it. Okay, I'm going to just go back to watching my South Dakota State game. And then all of a sudden I look at my phone and, they're right back down there. I turn it back over. Then they kick a field goal to tie it to get to overtime. Texas gets the ball first in overtime. They kick a field goal. K-State's probably thinking, touchdown, we're going to win this. And the first play from scrimmage in their overtime, they got down to like the 5 or 6 yard line. So they had a first and goal, and they did not get it in. And then they went for it on fourth. They didn't go for the tie in a double overtime. They went for the win. Which was stupid. Yeah, that was dumb. Like those 3 plays ahead of that, first, second, third, and goal were hot garbage.
That's why I don't after watching.
Now we'll get a good play going.
Yeah, in the last 4, like usually it's like be aggressive. This is Texas, but it's like Will just did nothing. If they had that Avery Johnson, I probably would have felt a little better. But it was just like that. PU it stunk.
Yeah, like those 3 plays were awful. And then they think, we sure got him here on 4th down. It's like, dude, just kick the field goal and live for another overtime, man.
I'm going to have to go with that one, too. That's the only one I really caught at the end. But, I mean, sorry, not to invoke Vikings here, Trent, but the kicker Blair Walsh did, and I changed the channel. I was like, there's no fucking way, man.
I did, I did too.
I think you could right now go, Trent, walk outside, and you're going to you can take one practice kick. You got to hit this, what was it, like 30-yarder? I think you'd have a pretty good chance of hitting that.
Yeah, get me on game day with Pat McAfee with all that money on the line. I'd give it a shot.
And do they just pick people that have never ever played any sport in their life? Never?
No, they like draw a ticket, like draw a number. So like people are putting in a raffle.
Conspiracy theory for the Monday Fun Day. You guys need to figure out. I don't think they're just randomly picking.
But by the way, don't if you're around young people, don't ever say anything about like, hey, Pat McAfee isn't my favorite announcer. They fucking go bananas. They start throwing shit at you. It is so funny. Like we grew up in, I think, the golden age of college game day, where it's like analytics and important stuff before gambling. No offense, kind of ruined it. It was just pure sport, you know. And Lee Corso was cognizant in every. You know what I'm saying? It was legit. Now they've kind of he's fallen off, and they have to bring someone in young. I get it, but like I can't get into Pat McAfee, man. Like
I haven't listened to him in a while now, since he's on ESPN now and all this. I was an OG Pat McAfee listener like 6 years ago when he started the thing,
like at Barstool.
Before Barstool, like it was a couple of years before Barstool, actually. Like back when he was
Bob and Tom and shit.
That's kind of how we got started. He did stand up, actually.
Yeah.
So I listened back then.
Back to like what Bryant was saying, what Bryant said about Lee Corso being cognitive, like he was, but I liked it when college game day and he was probably just right in the fun, and all of a sudden you'd see him put on he'd be like, fuck it, and then put on something. Like, I love it when the cameras would catch that on accident. Yeah, fuck it, and then he'd put on like
he'd throw off
Oklahoma
one
Sooner
head
thing instead of the Texas Longhorn or whatever,
Not to touch on Lee Corso too much, but going back to like what they did earlier in the season when they were talking about, they had him, thank Kirk Herbstreit and everything, and tell everyone how much he loved them for working through his stroke and stuff. Yeah, and I was like, so he's retiring, right? Like he's just going to be done. Like they aren't going to let this moment go. Oh, they sure the fuck did. Now he's still on there, and it's like, what are you doing? You had the perfect get out for him and everything else, and you just keep it going, man.
Yeah, he was on this past week. But like 2 weeks ago, he was not. So he's kind of here and there, hit and miss, I guess. Kind of weird.
I remember when his stroke first happened, and I didn't mean to like make fun of him, but I was, because I was like, man, he sounds like he's got some sort of issue. Like he sounds, like he's got a stroke or something. And then the next week, he had a stroke. So cool.
I mean, it was just, I think that one was his 400th show, Joey. But that would have been like, that's the perfect. And I think weren't they at Columbus, or they were at Buckeyes at one point. I don't think it was that game, but like, I mean, it's such a shitty thing. It's like, I think you just kind of honestly, I think you limit his role and you let him. I'm surprised they don't do pre-recorded stuff with him.
Right.
Let him come back for the big games, like the really big, big national game, powerhouse games, so you can see that excitement from him. But every other game, he had that good send-off, and then they could have said, "Hey, come back for these 2 games."
Kind of like what they do with Dickie V.
Yeah. You know what they need to do? They do at least 2 Ohio State games a year. Just bring him back as a special guest on those 2 weeks. Have him put the Buckeye on, wave. He'll love it. We'll all love it. We'll all tear up. I mean, that's what it's kind of.
Do 1 game a year at Arizona so he can do that game.
Oh,
He coached there.
Speaking of tearing up, I got to ask this, and this might be a little bit of an asshole move, but we've all been talking about Caleb Williams being the number 1. We've talked about him being potentially 1-1. He wants ownership in a team that drafts him. And then after that game where he did everything he could, that defense is awful. Michael Penix is very good as well. They lost by 10. Like, was this not like, I keep saying egregious, but was this not like a crazy amount of like, man, you can be upset about a loss, but like you're like snot coming out of your nose, bawling in the stands on national television because you lost a football game. You'd already lost 2 this year. It's not like it was a undefeated season. Like, am I an asshole for thinking this is very weird at this level?
In this situation, I agree with you. Like, this is your 3rd loss of the year. You weren't going to the national championship. Your Heisman Trophy was probably not going to happen, even with the 2 losses. Definitely not happening now. And I made the point earlier, in the text that Does he shut it down? You're not you're not going to the college football playoff. You're not going to win the Heisman.
I mean, I think it wouldn't shock me if he would shut it down. But dude, he needs all the reps he can get, especially if like this right here kind of tells me you can tear up like the Tim Tebow after the Alabama game. You're not going to the national title. You can even be crying like, hey, this is your last game. You know, we've all had those moments at the high school level where like, hey, you can cry. You just lost. This is your moment. But like, this is a guy that's vying to go to a professional level, 1-1, and he was kind of talking all that shit and had that swagger, and now it's like you have to cover your face because you're actively bawling on national television. I think that, like, personally, I think he needs to come back another year and develop his game a little bit more, because how are you going to be 1-1 and when you're the man on campus in LA and that's how you react to a loss?
I look at it both ways. I think it looks bad for like recruiting, or not recruiting, like scouting and all that. But in maturity, it probably shows a little bit of immaturity, actually. But I think it's also, you can see the good in it. Like he's showing that he has a love for the game a little bit and is just very disappointed in himself, and he probably feels like he let the team down and so on and so forth. So I look at it from both ways. Like, you can look at it good or bad, really.
I think it just reflects worse, man. Like he cried after the Utah game. Those are two tough losses, and it's a very tough team. He's had some tough losses this year. The Notre Dame game, they were just blown out of. He didn't cry on that one because the game had already been over since halftime. But like, I just, if I was who is it, the Bears that are going to have the number 1 pick, or the Panthers?
The Bears, probably.
Bears. I mean, they're probably going to stick with Justin Fields, but like, whoever the 2 or 3 or whoever, like, are you looking at that and going, that's our franchise quarterback? He has all the pressure on his shoulders right now. That's about probably as close of a simulation as the professional level as Michigan and Ohio State can be, where you're the man on campus, you're returning Heisman, you have these expectations. Any city you're going to go to, you're going to have a high expectations. And if you don't have, I guess, in my opinion, the emotional maturity on it, that doesn't, I guess it just doesn't look good in my opinion.
For me, it's he threw for 312 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's I don't know, what could have been type of thing if we had a defense. Like, you give him any type of defense and he wins that game. Like, Washington Penix looked very pedestrian for the Heisman front runner. I think USC is undefeated if they have any resemblance of a defense, and they just don't. That's the one thing I took away from this game, is neither one of these teams has a defense. I thought Washington had something, but they may have less than USC. They just have a better offense that can scheme. For me, I don't know if he wouldn't have came out and said all this stuff about wanting ownership and shit at the next level. Like, I'm a person that's all about, do your job that you have right now, worry about the next step when that opportunity comes up. Your opportunity is not there yet, Caleb. Obviously, you got to make plans for the NFL, but you're still playing a college football season. And that's the thing. Like, we touch on the NIL stuff all the time, and like the transfer portals and stuff. I'm cool with players having the power. I'm cool with players getting paid, but you can't shut it down. And you can't just like give up on the season. So if that's even crossing his mind, I will think less of him for that. But the crying after the game, shit happens, man. I grew up wrestling. I don't know how many kids come off the mat every single match that they lose, throwing their headgear, crying, all that type of shit. So emotion's part of sports. I like seeing it. I mean, would I have cried in that situation? I don't know. Probably not, but who knows? But it's the other things. Go ahead.
I just think there's a difference between crying and like the frustrated, even the wrestling, throwing your helmet, red in the face, even tears streaming. That's like full on. That's like a almost temper tantrum child crying.
Oh, and I get that.
Like, Joey, you're a fan of the Falcons. if you were in 1-1 and saw, hey, this is going to be your franchise quarterback, and that's a clip I showed you, how confident would you feel right now?
I wouldn't. I would. First of all, the Falcons would have traded out a 1-1 because they don't know how to deal with the draft.
Who's the best tight end? Brock Bowers. They brought him and Kyle Pitts.
Didn't their quarterback do that last weekend after losing to the Vikings and Dobbs?
Yeah, and what the quarterback that they should have traded up for, because they had plenty of picks and cap space, threw for 465 yards. So,
crazy.
For me, I'll leave it at this. Like the crying doesn't bother me. It's the other stuff, the being way too fucking confident on himself at the next level type of thing. It screams Jamarcus Russell to me. I think he's better than Jamarcus Russell, but Jesus fucking Christ, Kirk Herbstreit, get off his dick. He is not Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. Patrick Mahomes is a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent that we are ever going to see in the NFL. And Kirk Herbstreit thinks that Caleb Williams is the second coming. He's not, man. He's definitely not. Patrick Mahomes may improvise more than any other NFL quarterback. He plays within the scheme. There are times where Caleb Williams, it could be 16 downs in a row, and he's still just doing whatever the fuck he wants and doesn't even listen to the playbook. Like, there's a big difference and a vast gap for me between the two of them.
I think the only reason Mahomes is obviously as good as he is, does he do that if he's on the Raiders? God, no. Mahomes would be selling used cars at this point. He wouldn't be in the league if he went to the Raiders. With Williams, it's the same thing. You got to get the QB whisperer. You got to get onto that type of team. Excuse me. No offense, I was kind of almost excited if the Vikings were going to tank for him because, like, I think Coach Cock, Justin Jefferson, you have the right scheme. I think you got the right type of coach that could get it done. But are you going to have that with the Bears? Not unless they change a lot of things. The Panthers, not really. I mean, Mahomes fell in the perfect situation. We all know that at this point.
Yeah, but Mahomes is doing it without a number one receiver. Like, I don't think Caleb Williams can do that without a number one receiver. Like, I think, I don't know, that comparison just it drives me fucking nuts to have that comparison.
You can make the argument that Kelsey is the number one receiver, though.
Well, then,
yeah, you definitely could.
If it's pissing you off, Joey, let's change subjects. We don't want to talk about Caleb Williams and improvisation and spread offenses and stuff. Let's switch to next week's game. Rutgers is a 2-point underdog at Iowa. Whoa.
Did we not talk about FCS yet?
Oh shit! Yeah, we can talk about that.
Jesus! Did you not know that my South Dakota State Jackrabbits took home the Dakota marker from those crappy North Dakota State Bison? Horns down, wasn't even close. 33-16. How far have the Bison fallen?
Man,
sweet.
I feel like just a few years ago they were like the top team, actually.
Well, a few years ago they could beat a lot of Power 5 teams, and now
they're losing. They did beat Iowa.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it wasn't long ago that they were like where South Dakota State is. Like,
they played Iowa State a few years ago, and Iowa State was up 14-0, and then North Dakota State said that's enough of that and rattled off 41 straight. Yeah. So look at that. Look at the Jackrabbit's ears. Look at
up.
it. Ears.
I had to find the rabbit with the biggest ears and the most disgusting veins showing through it to put on the screen there.
That's what we do.
Are you close enough yet?
Yeah, look like leaves right now.
Yeah,
motherfucking ears up here. That's what I'm saying.
So, like, dog. South Dakota State didn't absolutely stomp them. Like, the total yards is close, but North Dakota State had a bunch of turnovers, and South Dakota State took advantage of it.
South Dakota State went after their Dakota marker. Now they're going after the national championships there.
Yeah, we got Youngstown State this Saturday, and then Missouri State. Clark. Missouri State's going down. That's where Clark went.
What are they? The Bearcats?
They're like they're the Bears or something.
I thought he went to SEMO. I thought he went to Southeast Missouri.
Missouri State.
SEMO.
I think the Northwest Missouri State is the Bearcats.
Yeah, Missouri State's
you're
the
right.
Bears. So yeah, just 2 more regular season games, then we get into the playoffs. I'm not sure how that bracket works. If we have a bye the first week.
Trent, is this a trap game for South Dakota this weekend? Youngstown State is 26th in the country. It's 11 a.m. on ESPN Plus, big time. They're not going to fold under pressure, are they?
No.
Do they still have Bo Pelini as a coach?
They might.
Oh.
They might
Stats
actually.
guy, look that up quick. I'm yelling at no one. No one is the stats guy.
I'm going to Youngstown State right now. We'll figure this out.
Excuse me. So sorry, Trent. I didn't mean to skip over FCS minute there.
Yes.
I did put in the agenda.
What was South Dakota State's last loss? Was it Iowa last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They ran the table after that last year.
6-3. God damn, I love that game. Or was that the 7-4? That was 7-4, wasn't it?
7-3 with 2 safeties.
7-3. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
4 points in safeties. That's where the 4 was coming from.
That's the reason I don't need to go to strip clubs. That 7-4 game. Gets my jollies going.
Get you going.
Mm-hmm.
How about this to get you going, Joey? Rutgers 2-point underdog at Iowa. Over under 29. Game is on Big Ten Network at 2:30. If this continues, that is going to be the new historic low. Iowa would now have been involved in the 5 lowest over-unders in history.
As they should be. I will probably be out and about looking for my furry child that got out on Monday. So I'll be looking for my cat. Dart got it out. So I'll probably be doing that instead of watching this game because I was going to win. It'll be 7-3 probably.
Sorry, Rutgers is now a 1-point underdog over under 28.
Ooh.
This was updated. That was from yesterday when I put in the notes. So in
Still
1 day,
too high.
Take the under.
Yeah, take the under. It's still too high.
Yeah. I took the under 30.5 last week, and I didn't even fret the entire time watching it in Wrigley. So
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They looked pretty good versus Ohio State. I just don't. I think Ohio State's honestly more susceptible to making mistakes on offense because there's an offense there, So
They try things.
Yeah, and I really don't know much about Rutgers' offense. If they pass a little bit, I mean, all that's telling me is honestly Iowa has more chance to intercept it. That's about it, though.
Yep. Steal that take from Tom Fernelli, did you?
Yeah. They're just going to keep. You know what it is. You're just going to keep punting it until you're close to the end zone.
I fucking told you we should just play rugby. Just play rugby. Just kick it on first down. Play defense, and the closest we can get to a field goal, the better we are.
So the Philly tush push on first, second, and third down punt.
You would think big ass Deacon Hole would be able to do that, but
I've thought that this whole time. The guy's 6'6". How the fuck can we not get 2 yards with him every time?
I don't know.
Get Lindenbaum back there.
So I was saying earlier how the Hawkeye defense was back of how they looked really good, and this Iowa defense everyone kind of expects is. I think since they're already one of the top rushing defense, if they shut down the Rutgers rushing, I think Iowa has a high chance and a very, very good chance of winning. Because Rutgers is only averaging 145 yards passing a game. And I really do think that low number can really be not a difference maker, especially with DeJean and Castros in the back there.
Okay. Yeah, no offense. I guess I don't even have Big Ten Network, but when you got Joey here, an Iowa fan, saying he's not going to watch it, I'm sure as hell not going to watch it. I'm just going to watch the score bug at the bottom, see when it changes 3, maybe 4 times in the game. And
I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
I'll listen to it
on the cock.
Because Podolak and Dolph are amazing at doing the radio job, so I like listening to them. Even in this type of season, they at least make the game more exciting.
Do you only listen to it so it's only bad for one of your senses rather than two if you watch it on TV?
No, probably not. I've always enjoyed listening to Dolphin Polak. Like, I just think their chemistry works awesome. So I think probably listen to the game instead of watching it.
Yeah, I remember growing up as a kid, like doing chores and shit with my dad, like in the hog barn and stuff. We just had the radio cranked and Dolphin Podolak be out there or just be on the radio. And my dad didn't give a shit about sports. And of course, I'm just over there cranking it. And halfway through, no, switching to K97. I'm like, well, that's the station we're on. Cool 92 then. And we go over to that. And it's like, God damn it. I just want to listen to the fucking game. But jumping off that for a second, I don't know why there's so much hate for Peacock, man. I loved that broadcast. That was a great college football broadcast. It was good.
Like the announcers or like the presentation?
The announcers, the camera views, everything they did was spectacular. I thought it was awesome. They've came a long ways. I used to shit on them all the time for like their wrestling, their Olympic, like all of their broadcasts for that type of shit. They did really well on Saturday. I really liked watching it on Peacock.
Is it because Iowa game was followed up by your favorite rerun of The Office?
I mean, easily could have.
Scott's Tots.
Exactly. I just brought that up today. Someone said Mr. Scott. I was like, hey, Mr. Scott, what you gonna do? Like, what are you doing? I was like, have you never seen Scott's Tots?
Would you rather watch this same offense all next year, or every Saturday for 3 hours you have to watch Scott's Tots back to back, just over and over?
Well, it's one of the better episodes.
Or yes, sorry, only when the offense is out. So you might only have to watch it 2 minutes at a time.
That'd be okay. I could do that. I might do that this weekend.
Oh God, he might do that. No, I'll agree with that, Joy. I don't have Peacock, but the NBC games have kind of been the best ones with not only just the commenters, but like maybe it's a little bit. I think my TV has 13 is one of the few channels that's HD, but like I think the cameras have looked right. I thought they've done the best out of all. I hate the Fox Sports score bug in the middle. It looks like the NCAA video game. It's too like childish. Fox does okay. ESPN is ESPN. CBS is kind of. I think if I had to rank them, it'd probably go NBC. Probably CBS, Fox up there. ESPN, it kind of depends on what crew you get, though, man. Some of them, like I heard last week. Trent, were you the one that was saying that Robert Griffin was just terrible?
No, wouldn't me.
I had one of my buddies. I can't remember who it was, but he was just saying like it just sounded like he didn't know what he was either talking about or just not that great for honestly for prime time. I was a little shocked that we got Robert Griffin. I didn't think he was the A team, if you will.
I did hear him on some game earlier in the season, and it was a lot of personal like anecdotes and shit. And my whole thought was, dude, you're not on a podcast right now. Like, no one gives a shit what your what your wife's doing and stuff. And, come on, just call the game.
Yeah, he does some like when he's the color commentator, or if he does like the like he had Casey's Pizza for the first time. When he's doing that little quirky stuff, I think he's hilarious. Like the Halloween week, he was Harry Potter. He dressed up as Harry Potter. When he's that type of guy, I think he's very good. But when he's the actual like A announcer, like yeesh, not good.
Yep.
So, anything else on the Iowa game?
Nope. Just looking forward to being 8-2.
There we go. I like it, Joey. Well, let's talk about when it starts getting dark and we start getting a little frisky here. Iowa State 6.5 point favorite at BYU in Provo. Game is on ESPN second week in a row on ESPN at 9:15 at night. We're officially Big 12 after dark.
Why is it so late?
Welcome to us getting money for bringing in some Western Coast teams, man. This is our future. 9:15 games.
I am going to be asleep by halftime. Easy.
Yeah.
The last time Iowa State played out west was UNLV 2 years ago when they won by about 50.
Yep.
I could go to sleep at halftime on that one. It was the game was in hand. You want to hear a crazy stat?
I'm all ears, buddy. Ears up.
I'll let you guess. Okay. How many games has BYU lost in night games at home in the last 25 years? You know this, Brian. Did you listen to a podcast today?
Cyclone fanatics.
Joey, how many games has BYU lost at home at night in the last 25 years? So since 1998.
I'll stick with my same guess as last time, 2.
It's 3.
Wow. Nice.
That's insane. It's going to be 4.
How many have they had, though?
A lot. Now, on the Cyclone Fanatic podcast, they made a good point. They used to be independent, and so they weren't playing very good teams during this stretch. But still, I mean, that's in 25 years. That's a lot.
They haven't had to deal with Rocco Becht yet.
No, not.
They haven't had to deal with the 3-3-5 in these night games.
They haven't had to deal with Iowa State trying to run the ball up the middle of the first quarter and a half.
They can't handle it. It's like
yeah. No, I don't know. I hope we get off to a good fast start and get up early in this one. That's the key, I think. Iowa State has to get up early. We can't come from behind. We've proven that.
Yes. No, exactly. Any game, it's like, honestly, one touchdown, I'm like, we can do this. Once we get to about 10 to 14 points, I'm like, this might be the game, you know?
Yeah.
As much as we make fun of Iowa's offense, Iowa State's not like the juggernaut scoring 35 points a game. We're probably maybe
25 points. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am all here for the Iowa State recognition of them not being a great offense. Keep going. Keep going.
No, I mean,
we'll be the first to admit it.
I joined at the right time.
Yeah.
David, did you hear my stat?
No.
Okay. How many games in the last 25 years, home games at night, has BYU lost? Since 98.
Oh, probably all of them.
3.
Close. So close.
3.
Damn it.
Probably all.
It's gonna be 4. Gonna be 4.
The way. All right, I'm writing that down too.
Okay.
But here's my stat for you, my counter stat, Trent.
Okay.
BYU is like one of 4 teams that we actually have a winning record all time versus. We're 4-0 versus BYU, about to be 5-0.
All right.
So
I'm gonna send Dustin Hogue out there to poke some eyes out.
Melvin Ejim to flip off the mostly Mormon crowd out there.
Yeah. So did you hear him talking about that on that podcast, that it's on their athletic website that you cannot bring alcohol or tobacco to your tailgates?
Yeah. And what was it? Propane grills you can't bring either. It has to be charcoal or pellets.
Charcoal or pellets, yeah.
Yeah. No caffeine or natural gas. That's the Mormon way.
Oh no, you can have all kinds of caffeine. Mormons are addicted as shit to soda.
Don't even
have alcohol.
Or alcohol, yeah. Sorry, I got.
Don't even think about drinking that beer. It said like alcohol, tobacco, and other legal substances. Like, why would you put the legal in there? Like, we know those are legal. Why can't you have them?
I mean, if BYU is to come out with a non-alcoholic beer, would you drink it?
That's what their NIL's making.
Yeah,
we have like
Provo
6.
What's going to be cougar piss?
Cougar piss.
I'm trying to think like they're
the restrictions in Utah are stupid fucking insane. I was just there a few weeks ago. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Like I said, I think I've said it on the podcast. I got carded at Buffalo Wild Wings and had to wear a wristband while I was sitting at the bar drinking Diet Coke because I sat at the bar. So I can only imagine what that fucking tailgate's like. Well, it's boring.
You look like a degenerate with your beard, so I get it.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
And he's wearing glasses like the devil.
His hat's backwards. Jesus Christ! Oh, do they believe in Jesus?
They probably are making Brigham Young root beer.
If it's as
I
good as
would-
1919, I'm buying it.
Or would it be a sarsaparilla? I don't know what the difference between that and root beer is. I feel like BYU they would drink the hell out of some sarsaparillas out there. I hear like Dr. Pepper's really big too. I mean, it's very of all pops.
Mr. Pibb, probably.
Mr. Pibb.
Dr.
Don't like
Thunder.
anyone that has their doctorate or something. Don't want to have them too educated.
Yeah.
Ooh, Dr. Thunder.
Yeah.
Maybe a little
Okay,
Mount
so-
Whitney.
Sarsaparilla is made from the
Here is-
vine, and root beer is made from sassafras trees.
Isn't that what Sylvester the cat says? Suffering. Oh, that's succotash. not
Succotash.
sassafras. My bad.
Oh shit!
Joey, you were gonna say something. You're looking like you're ready there.
I was, and Dave beat me. So
Oh, dang it. Well, you got to be quicker than Dave there. Lightning fingers.
Randy, can they grill lips and assholes? They just soak them. That's what they do.
Pickled
soaking.
hot dogs.
Yeah.
So yeah, plan your naps accordingly. This is going to be a late game, and as much as I'm going to already be up and enjoy it, that's going to be a tough one to get through, man. That's usually that in the night, my brain's fucking just fried, and I'm on my phone half the time anyways.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We have a big slate of games here. Now, one of these have the AP top 25, so sorry, I was just too lazy. I didn't correct it. But number 3, Michigan, and number 11, Penn State, 17, Tennessee at 12, Mizzou, 18, Utah at 5, Washington, 10, Ole Miss at 2, Georgia, 20, USC at 6, Oregon. Which is your most anticipated game of the week?
Michigan, Penn State.
Michigan, Penn State.
Yep. Has the biggest playoff implications, Big Ten, so obviously I'm in. And then see if Michigan's for real. This is the week to live up to your number 3 ranking, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, it's big enough. Like, no offense, this is the one game pre everyone finding out about Mr. Stallions there. This was the game they couldn't scout. I'm kind of interested to see, is Michigan for real and they're going to be able to pull it off? Or honestly, this has been the first game all year where they're going to get tested as well as potentially not have the signals, man.
Right.
So, Dave, which one are you looking most forward to?
Michigan, Penn State. I want to see if I kind of want to see if Penn State can put up as many points as they did throughout this whole year against Michigan. But I also want to see if Michigan's for real. Then, of course, my second one is I'm on the Washington wagon. I want to see them blow Utah out of the water.
I was gonna say you've been Mr. Washington this whole damn time. That's where I was shocked you didn't say that one.
Nope. I want to see the Big Ten battle first, and then the Washington Utah, and I hope Washington just throws Utah away almost.
I'm gonna say USC at Oregon just because I want to see if
Really?
at this point, if because Caleb's gone from light tears to bawling, I want to see if he goes straight up, laying on the ground, pounding his fists and kicking down and screaming if they lose.
What if he doesn't even play?
Oh, he might.
I wonder if he
might
paints his fingernails like "fuck the ducks" or something.
It just says duck fuck. Fuck ducks.
Yeah.
I honestly think the spread on Oregon USC.
Yeah.
I think it's a 21-point spread. I like it.
Yeah, no, but for real, probably Ole Miss, Georgia. I don't think Ole Miss is even legit, even close to legit. I think it's a fake ranking just because their one loss has been to who? Alabama, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's the classic SEC. We've only lost one tough game, so we deserve to be ranked. I think Georgia throttles them, and at worst, if Ole Miss does win, then Georgia's out. Then Georgia. I think if Georgia loses to a top 10 Ole Miss team, how far do they fall?
Oh Jesus, because they haven't looked great this year.
Yeah.
They've actually looked worse than they have in other years. Everyone's like, well, they did what they always do against Mizzou, which is true. But they're last year and the year before that, they were beating teams by like 24 points, and I believe their score differential is like 14 or
all
something.
to 7 if they lose.
You think only to 7? Sorry, I'm pulling back up the top 25 ranking here.
Well, yeah, because I think they'd fall to 7 because they probably say, "Oh, Alabama," so they got to put them at 6. Oregon would go to 5. Washington would finally get 4.
So what do you do with Ole Miss then?
Ole Miss would be 6. Texas stays.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Ole Miss and Oregon. Ole Miss would go to 6. Oregon would be 5. Washington 4. Texas would probably fall back, and then Alabama at 7. So.
Hear me out here. I think if Ole Miss wins this, they have a very legit shot at making the playoffs. They have Georgia, UL Monroe, and Mississippi State left, and their schedule, other than losing by 14 to Alabama, is pretty good. I mean, they smoked Tulane by 17 and then beat LSU by 6. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought they were a fraud before I looked at their schedule, and now I look at it, and they've handedly won their games.
The one tough thing would be who do they play in? They'd have to play Georgia again in the SEC championship.
Right. Yeah, and I also don't think they would jump Alabama from the West.
I think that would be the one tough thing, but honestly, like I want it to happen. I just don't think Lane's got that dog.
Crazy things have happened.
I guess what I'm saying more than anything is I'm less on them being a shit team than I am on them actually pulling off the upset. You don't like that view?
No, sorry. We're fucking around with views here, and I did not like that zoomed in on my face.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah, I need to shut the hell up. No, I just until I see it, man. It has been one of those where change it back so fucking. Now we're fucking around with the cameras here. I gotta until I see Lane actually pull off the upset. I don't believe in him. Ole Miss has been propped up for years since Lane's been there by beating the teams they should, losing to the teams they should, and they just landed 8-4 every single year. Mm-hmm. They're never higher. They're rarely higher, never lower. They just. Sorry, don't take this the wrong way. They're at the Iowa kind of paradox. You're never going to be lower than 7-5, but you're never going to be higher than 10-2. There's going to be occasional 11-1, but they just cannot break the threshold one way or another.
Yep, and I honestly, since you brought it up, them in Iowa, they're kind of the opposite, but with the same result. Like, you never know what you're getting with Lane Kiffin's teams. Yeah. And they're always going to be very good offensively, but kind of struggle defensively. But you just never know what you're going to get with them. So it's kind of a juxtaposition, which I really, really find fascinating.
Yeah. Every game for him feels like, hey, we're up by 2 touchdowns. We got this. And then they always piss it away in the last quarter and a half,
Yep. Or they could be down by 2 touchdowns and, hey, we still got a chance. It's going to happen.
Yeah. No. So Lane's just one of those guys I can't trust him until I see it,
I agree.
But last thing I just had was college basketball being back here, man. There's not too many games. I've been kind of watching some of the like mid majors because there's not really any other games going on right now. At least both of our teams have started 1-0 here. Sorry, I was just throwing on the top 25 here, but Iowa State won 85-44 versus Green Bay. I believe Iowa, it was 110-70, wasn't it 76 to North Dakota?
68.
There you go.
Yep.
But anyone shocking in the top 25 there, or you got any complaints? Feeling good about it?
I honestly haven't even dove into basketball yet or wrestling, so I couldn't even tell you. I'm not surprised by any of the blue bloods being at the top.
Not even wrestling, Joey.
Yeah, I know, man. Well, it's an Olympic qualification year, so I've been following freestyle quite a bit, but nothing collegiate. Is Edie still at Purdue? Is that why they're at 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I haven't gotten into many of the basketball games yet, but I think it's weird seeing Gonzaga at number 11 right now. Like I really do. Like I find that strange.
Yeah, I think.
But I had no idea Arkansas was even rated. Same with Miami Hurricanes.
Miami made the Elite Eight last year, man.
Yeah.
Arkansas.
No, Miami did.
Oh man, yeah.
A&M, I didn't know they were ranked, but yeah, Houston, are they in the Big 12 for basketball right now too?
Yep.
Ooh.
So that, I guess for you guys, that's a pretty good deal. You got what Kansas, Houston, and
Baylor.
I thought it was Baylor, right?
Yeah, Baylor and Texas. I would say the Big 12 has 4 in the top 25. Big 10 has 3. I mean, and if you even look like just for Big 12 for a second, I mean, you're bringing in Arizona as well. Colorado's been ranked by some people as well. I mean, the only one that's going to honestly suck at basketball, because even Arizona State made I think it was Sweet 16 last year.
Mhm.
The only one's going to suck at basketball is going to be Utah, but they're bringing in a good football program. So
Who's that number 10? Is that Florida Atlantic?
yeah,
Why are they so highly rated?
they had that Final Four run, and I believe they brought back a good amount of their production. But
Oh, okay.
it's always interesting seeing. I'm shocking if you look at all three of us. None of us are basketball players, but it's always interesting for me, just on a very amateur side, watching how FAU is going to be top 10 because they brought in a couple players, but it's the consistent coaching. Gonzaga's at 11. Doesn't matter who they bring in because they got Mark Few. I think it's the same thing. Michigan State's always good, but it's Tom Izzo.
Yeah, and I always find college basketball rankings interesting because I don't pay that close attention to it, but I pay just enough. And every year when I see the first rankings, I'm like, oh, I wonder why that team's rated. Like I just have a general curiosity, like that FAU and seeing that Gonzaga was 11 was like really surprising to me.
Yeah,
and Houston, like I knew that they were good, but I didn't know they were ranked number 7.
I already know which one of these teams is Joey's favorite in the top 25. USC.
Wait, what? Why?
Bronny's there, dude.
Oh, my bad.
Bronny James, dog.
Is he playing this year? I thought he had to sit out this year.
Oh, I think I don't know, something with his heart. I think he's coming back though.
Something with his heart. He collapsed on the fucking court.
Well, I can't remember if it was cardiac arrest or what it was. That's what I mean. I don't know the diagnosis, but
Nope. He was just dating a model in Ibiza and just forgot. And
see, that's why I have you here. You're our Braun reporter, dude.
So, speaking of LeBron James,
all right, we're gonna sign off. Yeah, everyone know.
Yeah, I'll see you later if you're gonna talk about him.
No, what was going on with Braun? Sorry, I missed that.
He's averaging more at this age in the fourth quarter than anyone has points per game at this age. So, just saying. And more importantly, the number one college basketball ranking for the year that I need to care about is number 3 Iowa women's basketball, Caitlin Clark.
Oh, I was going to say that too. I think it's cool that the Colorado Buffalo women's team beat LSU the other day. Also, kind of beat the crap out of them. I think
they handedly beat them. That was awesome.
Yeah,
it's crazy how much Caitlin Clark changes the dynamic of everything. Like 2 years ago, Dave and I would not have cared about Iowa women's basketball. Like,
I wouldn't have either.
We wouldn't have known the scores, but now we're quoting and putting in the statistics for the LSU Colorado game that we didn't even watch.
I think it's awesome.
There's a saying that it's there's no one like madder than a woman scorned. I think I'm just going to replace women with Iowa fans because I've never seen more since the punt that was, or the fair catch that was a invalid signal, the Caitlin Clark thing. I've been seeing a lot of mad Iowa fans that are just getting a lot of schadenfreude watching LSU going down to Colorado, which everyone does. Kim Mulkey, if you look at her face, I would not want her to win, but whew, they are mad. They're happy. They're happy seeing Angel Reese sad.
If you're openly telling your players to be less lesbians because it helps with recruiting, fuck you.
Yeah. That's when she was at Baylor. She had to say that because of Baylor's guidelines.
I know it's
Matthews at
in the
LSU.
past, but the referees said, "Hey, there was a lot of missed calls in that national championship."
Yeah, I saw that. Well, I read the
They were-
article. I don't know what the hell these metrics mean. It's supposed to be at like 91% accuracy. It was at 88% in the national championship. There is still a couple with like the technical foul, but
Yeah, it's just kind of. It was just kind of fun to finally say, "Hey, like
yeah,
everybody
now
knew
that
it."
there can
But it
be
was,
no repercussions. We were wrong.
Dave, we're not blaming the refs. Don't do that.
I'm not
You're not
saying
Iowa
it's
State.
all the refs' fault.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's kind of cool seeing the NCAA take that step and say, "Hey, we did something."
Yeah,
Maybe they should do that with all sports.
they should.
And
They
every
send
Iowa
letters.
State game.
Yeah,
All
I was
sports, all teams, fair
I was
catches.
just going to say that was
anything
going to
like
be
that.
my next point, Joey, was that between the invalid punt and this, the tide's turning more towards Iowa City and the Zebras, man. That's I'm gonna let it cool, but we'll just keep watching the online chatter and see how it ends. But let me see.
I
here.
can just say fewer. I feel like it's fewer incidences with Iowa and the refs, though.
Yeah, but when they do,
Well, yeah, we expect perfection.
Because it means something. We just want a fair game, boys.
hey, when it's in Iowa City, we want perfection. When it's in Ames, you should have been better.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it should be.
in Ames, you know, one call doesn't.
And you can't wear the black jerseys. Stop that shit.
We need to stop. We're fucking 0-2 the last two. That's what I'll agree with that. We need to, until we get Brock Purdy and Breece Hall back, maybe we don't wear these black jerseys unless we're playing fucking I'm trying to even think of a team that we guaranteed win, and I'm blanking right now. We lost to Ohio. I can't and you can't wear them versus you and I, you know. But
I would love to see you and I wear black and purple. That'd be sweet.
Ooh, yeah. Wow, that would be actually really cool.
Have you seen BYU's black uniforms that they're wearing?
I did. Oh my god, so cool.
Yeah,
I haven't
no,
seen
those
these at all.
ones. I hope that shit, it's not loading. I'm really hoping that BYU wears their all black unis, and I hope Iowa State wears their icy whites. I think that will be such a great contrast with the black and blue and the white and red. It'll look awesome. But the only other thing I had basketball, and was hoping Trent was here, but Iowa State just today signed 4-star. I'm gonna fucking ruin this one, but 4-star Nojus Andrusitis and 3-star Dwayne Pierce out of New York and Chicago today. God damn, those are beautiful unis. But those two recruits are two of the top 12 in Iowa State's history in basketball. In the last last two classes, TJ has been around longer, but in the last two classes, TJ has signed 6 of the top 16 all-time recruits in Iowa State's history. So
Damn.
he's got his. I mean, he's had his coaching quirks, and we know last year we were all defense and no offense in basketball. But I mean, TJ is obviously the best recruiter we've ever had in school history. If we can get some of that coaching stuff down, and after watching our game on Tuesday, I mean, I know everyone's going to say they think they can win the Natty, but if we can keep a defense like somewhat of the defense that we had last year and have this offense, I think we can make a decent run. Legit, I think we can at least make the second weekend again. The last Sweet 16 was everything fell into place. We played the right opponents that didn't have great offenses to start, you know, and our defense did enough to get past LSU and Wisconsin. I think this team could legit with Milan Momcilovic, who else? Kurt Jones. I think we got enough pieces and enough veterans on the team where we can make a run at this point.
Nice. I hope so. I really like it when Iowa State's good at basketball. It's fun to watch. You guys are very like Fran coaches to the team he has. So some years they're very slow, very defensive, and they still win quite a few games. The other years they're just super offensive. But Iowa State's always fucking fun to watch, man. Like those Niang years and is it it's not DeAndre. I don't remember. Anyway,
Monte
you
Morris.
guys, yeah, like the Monte Morris years, like you guys are always just fun to watch. I love watching Iowa State basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna be honest, as an Iowa fan.
I'd say the real key obviously is going to be in Big 12 play. If we can, I feel still safe with like my goal was like 9-9, not going into the year. I think we should be at least 9-9, and you know we only have to play Kansas once. We play Houston, I think, once at home. I'd have to double check the schedule, but I mean I think we've got a decent schedule where we should be able to make a run. I think we played Kansas State twice, and they were tough last year with Tang, but I mean. Like I said, you go 9-9 in the Big 12, you're probably going to be seated pretty favorably.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So since we're, go ahead, Dave.
I was going to touch on the Iowa basketball. From what I saw, that Sandifort, I think that's how his name is.
Yep.
Like it seems like how Joey said, like Fran coaches to the team he has. I feel like this year is going to like be, just from what I've seen a little bit of, it's going to be like a mid-tempo team, not super fast, but not like a slow defensive grinder. Like I think they're going to play to both sides where they can slow it down and speed it up, because it seems like a lot of the lineup is kind of a faster, quicker team.
Yeah.
What I saw.
So the Devin Marble year-ish type stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would say about like that.
That makes sense. And he's only got one kid on the team now, right? Patrick's the only one.
11-5.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know what to expect from Iowa basketball, to be honest with you. Fran is a wild card, like I said, or I haven't said that yet, but he is a wild card and coaches the team he has. So God knows what's going to happen this year. But one thing I did want to touch on before we got out of here was what do you think of the NCAA holding up the at least 1 year ineligibility thing for the betting stuff? Because it sounds to me like we're going to punish a bunch of 18 to 24-year-olds more than we are Jim Harbaugh, and I am very much against that bullshit. Fuck that bullshit.
Yeah, and the only difference right now, I can like just in those cases, is everything's alleged in Michigan. Ours was illegally obtained evidence, so right. I think that's a very big distinction as well. But yeah, I hadn't read into that, but I know it's affecting half of. I guess how many is six players in a lineup in wrestling? Is that half or is it just under?
Oh yeah. So you have 10 weights.
10, yeah. So 60% of your lineup's affected by it. Noah Shannon, who is back practicing and now being told
is now ineligible again.
Yeah, now ineligible. Haneke's been out, but I mean that one it's not like Iowa was we need Shannon, otherwise we're gonna fall. Same thing with Haneke, but it's like, dude, like it's the same thing with the Tez Walker, and that's where the NCAA, it's like you can make such an easy decision and just go, these play like you've been made the example of. We're gonna move on with it, and here are the rules. Now they're actually we're just gonna backtrack again. Actually we're gonna until a team like North Carolina that has the resources that goes, we're gonna sue your ass into the ground if you don't let Tez Walker play. Or Michigan saying we're going to have repercussions and we're going to sue your ass and we're going to bring evidence of bringing this whole conference down. Unless you're a big institution like that, the NCAA can just jerk us around like that, and it's unfair. Again, are you there for the athletes? Because if so, then Noah Shannon and Haneke should be playing. But if not, then you are what you are, I guess, at that point.
And like Trent said, we're the only state that had players doing this.
The only state that's stupid enough to start an investigation because they're headhunting.
Yeah. Yep. But I think it's like one, what you said, but two, it's like you can't tell me wherever else it's legal, those kids did not bet on that shit themselves, bet against themselves, anything.
Yep. So this is quoting Chad Leistokow, who was quoting Kirk Ferentz, and this is what he said. Because of Noah Shannon's ineligibility. The humanistic part of it is probably the most disturbing. My takeaway of this whole thing is it's long, I've long thought the NCAA is just a very big, cumbersome organization that really has a hard time reacting to anything in real time. And that's really evident in our sport. Our world has changed so much, and I don't think that they're taking anything into account. He didn't commit a crime, didn't bet on an Iowa football game. Punishment, yes. And he's been very straightforward with his remarks, very competitive, blah, blah, blah. It's just so asinine that this kid is getting punished for doing something that's legal in that state when he didn't bet on his own fucking team. Like it's not like he's going to a bookie and like finding seedy ways to throw the game or anything. You have ways to track what he is betting on. If he's not betting on his team and has no insider information on other teams, who the fuck cares? He's 18 years old and he can bet. It's legal in the state of Iowa. It's such bullshit. I fucking hate the NCAA. I cannot wait till there's just football divisions, basketball divisions, every other sport divisions, and we can get rid of that bullshit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I'd have to agree.
I think we ended there, man. That was a pretty good rant.
Man, it just grinds my gears. To be a Peter Griffin, it grinds my fucking gears, man.
Grinds my fucking gears. So, well, like I said, let's end it there because I really have nothing else written down unless you have anything to get off your chest here. But do appreciate everyone that was joining in earlier. We do this every Wednesday, 9 p.m. start. So if you do enjoy it, make sure you tell your friends. Join us on these Wednesdays here, and then make sure you like and follow our podcast. Pulse the Heartland, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at Heartland Pulse, YouTube, Facebook, just Pulse the Heartland, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, if you see my boy Dart out and about on your northeast side of Columbia, please let me know. Missing that guy.
Dart's a cat, by the way, folks, not a person. So.
Yeah. Well, if you find a person named Dart, send him my way too. I'll get him to the right homeless shelter.
Only in Columbia, Missouri, though. In any other city, you don't get your darts. So.
Sorry for laughing so hard at that.